from the conservation area, you can see I-29. There's some white trucks way off in the distance, but we don't hear them. And that's the nice thing, is one of the benefits of this conservation area. $20 a night, you get full hookup, and it's 50 amp, which is really nice. You can run the air conditioner and whatever other amenities you need, microwave, and recharge the battery. That's Bound for Nowhere, the YouTube channel Bound for Nowhere. What a coincidence, in Waldrug.
38 degrees here today.
Yeah, 38 Celsius. That's Canadian.
Yeah.
I'll translate that down here, up there, over there, wherever. But it's hot. It's extremely hot. So they were kind enough to leave us with a little momentum from their trip.
And
Bound for Nowhere.
their badge.
Their badge. So thank you kindly. We will treasure that. They're the first YouTube couple, and we follow a lot of YouTubers that we've met up close and personal. So we want to say thank you very much for your kindness and your generosity. And as I mentioned, they're both excellent photographers and videographers, but their communication skills are incredible. They're easy to follow, easy to listen to, and understandable. And that's what we truly enjoy. So we've toddled into Waldrug, and we are bound for some camping ground well after Sturgis before we head back to Vancouver. So there's plenty of parking off the main drag in Waldrug. I knew that was going to happen. Just off one block toward the west of the town center, and big rigs of all size, trailers, large Class A's, and vehicles all over the place. So here we go. We're going to experience again. I think this is our third time at Waldrug. Little faux pas when I said Walmart.
Yes.
I heard you laughing.
I did.
But motorcycles all over the place. It's Sturgis Bike Week. Starts tomorrow. I'm guessing we've seen 600-700 motorcycles going down I-90 towards Sturgis. And as Eileen mentioned, it's the
Busiest time to stop in Waldrug.
We've seen 600-700 motorcycles going down I-90 towards Sturgis. And as Eileen mentioned, it's the
Busiest time to stop in Waldrug.
Waldrug store since 1931. Western Art Gallery Cafe with 530 seating capacity. We're gonna move on, walk our way back to the trailer, and toddle on down I-90 and see how far we can get tonight. Lots of beautiful motorcycles. Motorcycles are like jelly beans. All different colors and all sweet. Well, we've toddled into a piece of history of the United States, just off I-90. It's about 2 minutes off of I-90. We were here in, I think 2008 or 2009 when we went to Sturgis. It's Custer's last battlefield, and it's spread out over quite an area, and they've got quite a museum and all the history of that great battle. And it's a sad occasion, a sad time in America's history, but we've come to this location again to understand a bit more of what happened during Custer's last stand here. There are grave markings all over the property where the RV is parked, and of course behind us here.
As well as markings where all the battles took place and where the last stand that Custer was as well.
Not too far from here is Custer's last campsite, and we spent about 5 minutes there back in 2008, 2009. We're not going to make it on this journey, but we wanted to show you a bit of a great roadside story, this location, if you're in the Montana area, just off I-90. And we're westbound toward the Seattle and then eventually into the Vancouver marketplace. But until that point, we're just taking some time out of the drive and enjoying some of the sights and the sound of the area. So this is the battlefield where Custer and his men tried to defeat the American First Nations and was unsuccessful. There's a lot of history here. During Sturgis Bike Week, and a lot of the riders make this a definite stop, a must visit before heading off to Sturgis. See it right there is where Custer and a few of his men perished during this battle. And there's a big monument erected to the memory of that event. We were hoping to be on the road a little bit longer, but we received some sad news this past Tuesday, August the 2nd, that my uncle had passed away unexpectedly. And he had asked us prior to his passing if we would take care of his estate. So we've had to make this trip short, and we're heading back to British Columbia to take care of some personal matters. And we are at a campsite along I-90. You can see I-90. It's not a noisy campsite at all. It's called the Riverfront RV Park off the I-90. And it is, so it'd have to be south of Missoula.
No, it's east of Missoula. We're going west.
Oh, we're going west, east, okay.
Yeah.
So what's the name of the town? Garrison Crossing?
Garrison, just Garrison.
Oh, Garrison, Montana. Okay.
Just before Missoula.
Okay. Garrison Crossing is where my uncle lived.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. So in any event, this will be our final roadside story on this edition of Toddle In. We had a blast. We left Langley and crossed at Coots or Sweetgrass in the province of Alberta, took Highway 2, ended up in the Upper Peninsula and dropped down into Michigan and over to Port Huron, crossed into southern Ontario, and spent 7 or 8 wonderful days with my family and friends there, and we just had a blast. And then we were on our way. We were just outside of Detroit when we got the devastating news that my uncle had passed, and we had to revise our plans. We did make one stop at Custer's Last Stand, the battlefield, and we did that because in 2008 we had stopped at Sturgis. We rode down to Sturgis on our Goldwing and had taken that battlefield in. There's quite a story and a lot of history there. What say you?
Yes, very much. It's a place that you could spend a lot of time, learn lots of the history, and also feel humbled.
Exactly. So this is our final evening camping, and tomorrow we hope to cross the border back into Canada and off to Langley. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Toddle In, our Southern Ontario trip, and we'll have more roadside stories coming up in future editions. Until then, take care and make sure you toddle in on various roads and attractions around Canada and the United States, and you'll have a life filled of adventure and fun. Chevrolet 3800 and a one-horse trailer. International. One of the best companies on earth. Sadly, in about 2008, I believe it was around 2008, International sold off the tractor division, and the truck division went to Navistar, and the rest is history. Something special about this old iron attracts me. But it's wonderful that these old vehicles aren't crushed, that they're sitting here, and maybe somebody watching this channel may contact the campground and say, hey, I'm interested in that old Farmall tractor or that old Dodge. And there's another chassis. I see the engine, but I have no idea what it is sitting beside. Maybe I can tell by the engine. It's blue, so it must be a Ford. The distributor's in the front, and it's the frame, and at least you got the engine and the transmission, and I see the alternators hanging off the frame. But it's quite a collection of old antique equipment here. You never know what you find if you go scouting around the campsites, especially along the I-90 and some of the other interstates. You find these old boneyards, and they all have a story to tell.
They do. I don't know what the story is, but obviously there is a story, and they did do some work once upon a time.
Well, we can make up a story. Let's make up a story about that Dodge. That's the Dodge Brothers. And it looked like it's got a box on the back of it, so I'm assuming it carried grain at one time, another feed back to the farm. The old International, boy, it's probably got a million stories to tell. With the white, I'm not sure that is original, the white facing on it. It seems that vintage of M should still have all red, but it's not a Super M, it's a straight M. It's not a diesel, an M diesel, MD, it's a straight M. There are stories behind each of these vehicles here, and they should all have there we are. They should all have a new story to tell. And maybe you can help them tell that story. These are some more roadside stories from Toddle In, and thanks again for watching this edition. First major tire blowout. put the tire pressure monitors on that tire. No warning at all. Nothing. We heard this massive explosion, and you can see the damage that it's done. The wires are tore out. They're all wrapped around the rim. And now I'm trying to get the jack under the tire to change the tire. We lost the strip along this side of the slide out. And to say I'm extremely disappointed is the least in that tire pressure monitoring system. I give it a 2 thumbs down, big thumbs down. There was absolutely no warning at all. We were doing about 55 miles an hour heading towards Seattle, and this happened. The damage was pretty extensive. There are the cables that carry the power to inside the trailer that when the explosion occurred, it ripped the under part of the wheel well open and exposed the wires that run alongside there. And I'm not sure why Grand Design does not run the important wires between the frame rails rather than along the edge of the trailer. And I guess it has something to do with probably the production. But in any event, it was $11,000 is the estimate from the insurance company to repair the damage that was caused by that tire blowout. And sadly, I still have mixed opinion regarding the tire minder. And from what the experts in the tire business tell me, it appears that the tire delaminated. They were brand new tires a year early and had less than 100 miles on. And this was their first trip to Southern Ontario, and we'd have been on the road for about 6 weeks, but we had to cut our trip short and headed back to Canada, as you know, because of the passing of my uncle. But you know what? We're heading off to buy a much better tire, and that's what's going to happen on this trailer. It's still sitting at the dealership waiting for parts, and hopefully sometime this fall we'll get it back. Thank you for watching this series. I trust that you'll subscribe to our channel and give us a big thumbs up, and thanks again.